Ultimately, customer permissioned access to financial data is at the heart of what Ozone API does. We provide an open banking platform that allows banks and other firms to share their data quickly and easily based on any standard available all over the world. We pride ourselves on accelerating the adoption of open banking worldwide as part of the larger mission to improve and modernize the global financial ecosystem. There are several drivers of the open banking movement, and one of them is surely competition. Ultimately, the goal of open banking is to use financial data to create more innovative product options by allowing the providers of those financial products to package things that are more tailored to various types of consumers who perhaps today are underserved by existing banking options. Now, this can mean that they are unbanked, that they are underbanked. It can also mean that they already have access to financial services today, but perhaps they're paying too much in interest rates, or they don't have the types of services they're looking for when it comes to things like specialized insurance, or Forex, or travel options, or rewards programs. All of these kinds of innovations and the requisite competition that comes with innovation are fundamental goals of the open banking movement, and Ozone API is at the heart of that movement. Absolutely, our organization is involved in the promotion of open standards, again, all over the world. We are a global organization, and our platform supports standards all around the world. So we are influencing every ecosystem enabler out there, whether that's a regulator, a central bank, the large incumbent banks in the region, fintechs, or consortiums of various stripes who represent those organizations, as well as the public, who we feel it's critical gets involved in driving this movement forward. Whether it's working with the central banks of the Middle East, including Saudi Arabia and the UAE, or working with the central bank in Brazil, or working with the UK, where our organization has its pedigree, we are driving policy changes all around the world, even within the technology standards bodies, defining the very standards that make these technologies work. In my role as GM of North America, I'm heavily involved with policymakers in both Canada and the US, trying to move them in the right direction. Likewise, with market makers who are actively involved in defining the landscape from a market point of view. Very proud to say that FDATA is a key part of that strategy in engaging with the ecosystem. And we ourselves have a particularly unique relationship with FDATA in that we are not regionally focused, but have a relationship with FDATA Global that brings us to every region where they are represented as well. Well, frankly, in many regions, open banking has already been a reality for many years, so policymakers should have been reacting for quite some time. But where I'm particularly active, which is in North America, now could not be a better time. And that's because the standards and the regulations that drive those standards are really just now coming into force in both Canada and the US. In late 2023, we saw key announcements from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in the US and the Liberal federal government in Canada regarding a major push in open banking coming to both of those countries in 2024. In the case of the US, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau released their Dodd-Frank Section 1033 proposed rulemaking, which it is now actively responding to feedback on. The respondents provided over 11,000 respondents from stakeholders of all stripes. The CFPB is now moving aggressively to turn that rule into law before the end of the year. In Canada, we saw the Liberal federal government make a major announcement as part of their fall economic statement, where they announced that open banking would be part of the 2024 budget. Not to be outdone, members of other parties are also touting their own open banking plans in Canada, so it seems to be a bipartisan issue, which is pretty rare these days. So in both Canada and the US, you see major movement to make open banking a reality in 2024. Policymakers need to act now or risk being left behind. The benefits to consumers are clear, and that was mentioned in an earlier question: choice. Consumers get access to banking options that simply didn't exist before. So this isn't strictly a matter of making existing offerings more attractive. It's a matter of enabling and introducing entirely new offerings, which previously just weren't possible because the data locked up in the silos of incumbents was preventing those options from being created by the market. By allowing that data to be free, it increases consumer choice, it increases inclusion, it increases productivity in the overall financial sector. Small and medium-sized enterprises probably benefit from open banking most of all, and that's because they not only gain from the new offerings made possible by their suppliers, whether that's improved lending options, more attractive insurance, tailor-made offers for the particular segment in which they operate, but they can also augment their existing offerings to their customers by leveraging open banking data to create optimized offerings within their sector, build on some of the commoditized capabilities that open banking provides in the form of customer financial information, consent mechanisms, and essentially go to market with entirely new innovations that weren't possible for them, potentially creating enormous new sources of value. It's all part of the virtuous cycle that open banking enables.